Man, it's your man. It's your boy, your guy, the one and only Coach Tony. And I'm back on what? The Pull Up Podcast Show. One of the hottest sports podcasters that hit the country. And we're just rocking and rolling right now. Thank you for tuning in tonight. But make sure you do a couple of things for me. Make sure you share, you like, and more importantly, subscribe to the show. Tonight's show, we got a lot of information to get to you tonight. This is all sports tonight, talking college football, talking NFL, talking WNBA, and more importantly, talking about the WNBA awards that's about to be given out. But before we get into the show, Val, you know what to do. Drop it.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast.
Man, it's the Pull Up Podcast, the show, man. Val, the voice of Coach Tony, you know. Man, I love that beat every time I hear it. Welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast show. And I'm your guy, the one and only Coach Tony. Man, I tell you what, this is going to be an impactful night. We're going to give you what you need for promotional purposes only tonight. Make sure you have your pen and pad, because I'm going to give you some information that you guys have been looking for in order to make the right predictions as we go through college football season, NFL season, and of course, as we close out the WNBA. But without further ado, I can't do this alone. I got to bring my co-host, my girl, the one and only Val, the voice. Come on to the studio, Val. Let's rock and roll, baby.
Well, hello. How are you? It's good to see you. Yay.
I didn't be a magician. I should have just went boof.
I know. I'm the one
Yeah, how you
pressing.
doing tonight?
I still have to press buttons over here.
I know, right? How's the weekend?
Weekend was fun, and of course, we really enjoyed having you. I saw you on Wise going live with 5, and I was very happy that he did this. He wore the shirt, ladies and gentlemen, which we'll be making available toward the end of the month. So, and we're matching. We have on red. This is beautiful.
All right, I'm ready. You know, hey, that's how we do. And again, as Val just mentioned, by the end of the month, make sure we get this merch. We're going to have those shirts ready to order for you women to pull up on me. Keisha, April, you know, everybody I'm talking about, go ahead and get these shirts. We're going to just roll them out. And of course, you know, I'm going to wear mine. And then we come with them hats too. For the guys that's playing golf or just want to walk around and just chill out. We're going to make sure we get a Bella. We'll make sure you get you one also. You know what I mean? But tonight, Val, welcome to the Pull Up Podcast. So we got a packed night tonight. We got Monday Night Football on right now with the Eagles. Well, actually, as I call it, the two dirty birds. You know who the two dirty birds are?
I know what it refers to. I just don't know if the folks in those cities would like their birds to be referred to as dirty. I don't know.
Well, it depends on what city, because see, if we cooking, right, and we don't give you just regular chicken, but we put a little something on, we're gonna dirty it up. That's that dirty bird.
I know, but I guess I find myself really into it since now last week and coming into the first week and coming now into the second week with the NFL. I was a little sad. The Houston Texans beat our Bears.
You know, yeah, I was too, Val, but unfortunately, you know, I got the Houston Texans to win the Super Bowl this year, so I wasn't too hurt, but I was, you know, I just want to make sure they, as they say, quasi cover the spread.
Exactly. So, but we all understand it, and like I said, it's going to be a great NFL season. Things are setting up, and I'm starting to see and the layout of the land. How many games are on Sundays? God, it's 4 days.
You just pull up your popcorn and a little wine, a little something to drink. You good.
Mhm.
And speaking of the lay of the land, let's jump right into it. College football is back in with a vengeance. And the question I want you to put in the chat line tonight is this. What do you think, because the NCAA has finally expanded because the people were moaning and groaning about, the championship and what's going on. Do you think that with the expansion from 4 teams to 12, is that enough? Or should the NCAA football just simply go ahead and expand it to 16 and call it the Sweet 16? So before I give you my opinion, Val, what do you think about that?
I think it should match. The NCAA is like that on the basketball side of things. Is that correct with the Sweet
That,
16?
that's correct. Right. We don't have a 12. It's Sweet 16, Elite 8, semifinal 4, and then championship game.
Yeah, so I think for just to keep up with things, just to keep things in I call it adjacent to your brethren and sister in the NCAA basketball side of things. Let's just have everything united. If it's the NCAA, let's just do 16. Let's do that. I like
I
that.
like I like that too. And speaking of United, I got to send the biggest shout out to both my grandbabies tonight, Val. And watching the show, my baby girl, Skylar Will said, "What's going on?" She like, "I'm watching Papa." She probably going crazy right now, shouting out. And then of course, my other baby girl, Olivia. I had an opportunity to hang out with them yesterday, do a little shopping, ride her around. We up in the Sam's Club, Val. I'm scooting around in the basket, making her think she in the Formula One NASCAR basket. But we had some fun and just hung out. And so I definitely want to shout them out tonight.
That's real sweet. That's real sweet. And do me a favor. Hopefully you didn't run nobody over trying to do NASCAR
I
in the
almost got a
Sam's Club.
ticket at Costco. How you get it? I mean, in Sam, how you get a ticket at Sam Club? You know what I'm saying? Hey, but she had some fun. But we were doing some 360s. I was straight up Dukes of Hazzard. And then, Val, they got the food she takes. You need to run my just grab one and keep it moving.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens in the Sam Club, and I'm just saying it. But anyway, I'm glad that your granddaughter is able to enjoy it a little bit, which is really cool. So my goodness, that's so sweet. Spending time with the grandbaby, spending
With that
time with the
grandbaby, like Marty Moss said, Coach Tony love the kids.
which is
Man,
wonderful.
April, thanks for checking in. April, what's up, girl? How you doing tonight? Thank you for checking in. April's always sitting solid. And speaking of that, April, I got to get in touch with Terry. I got to get him back on the show. I know he's released that album, Val, and I got to get him on in Lou's Talk on Tuesday. We got to bring him back in the house,
And also, and April, thank you. She sent this in the mail.
Oh, April respond. Oh, is April? Man, hey, hold on, April, right here. I got some hugs for you right now. I had to put some hugs out there, April. April takes care of, she does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. A lot of people don't know. And speaking of behind the scenes, again, college football jumped out to a vengeance, Val. And, I'm a diehard Big Ten guy, and all these SEC guys down here in Nashville. I'm always constantly fighting all the time. But right now, as you're looking at the NCAA football rankings, if you have those rankings, right now we got the Georgia Bulldogs. They're right now number 1. Texas, the Longhorns is number 2. My beloved Ohio State Buckeyes, number 3. And Alabama is number 4. So for those of you that didn't hear me earlier, what the NCAA has done this year in 24/25, they have expanded the NCAA football playoff picture. And what they have done with this picture, Val, is that everyone kept moaning and groaning about the top 4 always was the same. It's either Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and then maybe you throw in 1 or 2 teams, whatever. So this year, they decided to expand it to 12. And how the playoffs will work for everyone that's listening is that the first top 4 teams, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if there's no changes right now through the end of the season, Georgia or Texas, because they're going back and forth depending on which poll you're looking at, They will be the number 1 and number 2 seeds. The Ohio State Buckeyes will be number 3. Alabama will be number 4. And then what they would do, Val, is then they will automatically get an automatic first round to the number 5 and the number 16, right? Because at 4, they get to bye past the first round. 5 and 6 will be there to play off. And then you will have 7 and 8 will then play off to get into the tournament. You have 4 teams that will be in the playoffs. Obviously, the lower seed, the 11th and 12th seed will play the number 1 ranked, and then the 9th and 10th seed would play the number 2 ranked, and so forth and so on. So the question is, why do that, Val, when you can just do 16 teams, right? And put 8 on one side, 8 on the other side, and you play down to a national championship, and everybody wins. Why? For those that don't understand college football, at the end of Thanksgiving, which is when, Val? When is Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving is usually the 4th Thursday of November.
Correct. Depends on how it falls, excluding leap year. So, do you know when the National Football Championship game is?
That should be around that same time in that window of November, early December.
You would think so, but no, it's not played until January.
Oh, okay.
So you bring these teams in, you play them the first week of December, right after Thanksgiving. And right now, this is the current standings. And that was the old standard. Oregon is not there no more. So now Texas is number 2. Ohio State is number 3. Alabama is number 4. And Oregon dropped down outside of that, and looking at the new standings. And so, Val, you give these kids roughly about 4 to 5 weeks of rest. We don't have to do that. Hey, Mark, checking in. Mark, I need to hear from you tonight, baby, because you know as well as I know, these kids, they don't need 5 weeks, right? Treat them like the NFL. When the season is over at the end of Thanksgiving, they need to be ready to rock and roll, Val, and you give them a week, right? You start the playoff a week later, the first week of December. So if you think about it, if it's a Sweet 16, right, that's 16 1 week, 8 the second week, 4 the third week, and then a championship game. So if you look at the numbers right, it'll still fall correctly. You give these kids a 1 week break. You let them play the first round of the NCAA football the second week of December. The third week of December is Elite 8. The 4th week of December before Christmas will be the Final Four. And then you come back in January, you still got a championship game. What do you think about that?
Well, I feel like possibly, and the teams, you say there should be 12, but there's more. We don't know the power players behind the scenes, the folks that are running things at these colleges that says, look, my money speaks louder than anything that these kids can do. And I want my school, my alumni school represented. And if I got to send the kids out there to represent them, and if it makes things lopsided, so what? My school should be out there and represented. So that's how I look at it. I look at it almost corporately, like, the kids are playing, but there's a lot happening in the back rooms of a lot of these colleges and universities, Coach.
Yeah, and what you said, Mark just made a great point. While in the meanwhile, you got some of these HBCUs, like I'm here, at the SWAC with Grambling and Alabama A&M. My granddaughter went down to Alabama A&M, had a game this weekend. They played homecoming, and she got a chance. Val, it was great because, she went down to the homecoming, Val, right? 7 years old, and she came out like, Papa, I'm going to college. Man, you know how happy I was to hear that at 7. I'm like, girl, you still got 13 more years ago. I mean, at least, you still got at least 10. But
she was inspired by what she saw, Coach. This is exciting.
I was loving it, Val, because I keep telling her, you know what I told her she's going to be when she gets older? I said, Scholar, you're going to be a lawyer, a sports attorney. I won't keep you on my side of the game, sports attorney. So read everything. So for her to go down to thank you to Alabama A&M this weekend, have an opportunity, because if the president or anyone from Alabama A&M is listening, You impressed a 7-year-old child who now said, I am going to college. That is awesome.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really amazing. And like I said, this is what is done on the field and sometimes off the field can be a role model and impressive to young minds. And your granddaughter, a young mind, greatly impressed. But I say this is a great way. And of course, as we wrap up our first quarter, I see Mark has one question. What did he say? Why are we having these super leagues? Wonder if the ACC is about to be disbanded.
Yes, and Mark, on the other side of this break, if we're going to pay some bills, that's funny because I got an answer for you. We'll be right back because I'm tired of these bill collectors, Val. Get them out of my pocket.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the Key Spot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAP. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. KeySpot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. KeySpot, connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
Now back at you, second quarter by quarter information upside your head. We hear you like Mike Tyson used to hit you back in the day. You remember Mike Tyson, Val? You usually get mad as all outdoors because you go get your popcorn and you order your chicken wings. You got all your homeboys over the house and y'all about to watch Mike Tyson. And then they go ding, ding. Like, wait a minute, what just happened? I heard 2 dings. Yeah, because you said ding, then Mike said ding, and then the fight was over in 30 seconds. They're like, wait a minute, Mike. You got to give the people what they want. You got to let them fight for a minute, Mike. You can't just
Mike would put down his opponent so fast you blink to get the snacks and the fight was over. That's just how it was.
I was at my homeboy house one night and we was watching the fight. I reached over to take a drink real quick and look back up. They was announcers in the ring.
Back in the day. Hey, we got a joke for you. What's the fastest way to bring someone to the television screen?
I'm like, hey, I was looking like a puppy there, like, you know.
or you could be like, what was the guy from Scooby-Doo? Shaggy?
Right. Exactly. Hey, but we may have some young folks that don't know nothing about that, Val.
Exactly.
Hey, but real quick on Mark's question, you're looking at the market, again, as you've been following me over the years, over the past few months, I keep saying and keep telling everybody, and Val, I'm not going to change my story, and it's going to happen. You're no longer going to look at the Power 5. You're going to look at the Power 3. And those 3 conferences is going to be obviously the SEC, the Big Ten, those would be the 2. And then obviously the Pac-12 is already disbanded because the Big Ten picked up the majority of those. ACC picked up some. And then you're going to have a fight between the ACC and the Big 12. And I think the Big 12 is going to win out because the SEC and the Big Ten are both dating schools in the ACC to come over to the conference. And if that happens, then you can forget it because Clemson, Virginia is looking to come over to the SEC. But we being the Big Ten, is looking to get Carolina and Duke. And if we get Carolina and Duke and you guys get them, you can forget this whole nother ball game. So again, that's
April saying that times are changing.
Yes. And but April, it ain't the times. You know what's changed all this? NIL. And I've talked about that a million times. That's what's changed, the NIL and the money. And speaking of the money, Val, on a pivot, the NFL. I need to know what you're talking about because you just talked about our beloved Bears. They went down hard yesterday, Val. What happened?
I know. Some of the things I remember seeing with Fields last year with the Bears, like, where was the offensive line? Like, why aren't we protecting the new child here? Like, he just kept getting sacked, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah. But again, Val, This is Chicago, and I got to send a big shout out to my fat brother on the night, Kappa Alpha Psi. Throw them yo's up to my brother Charles Simmons down in ATL. You know, by the way, Val, Charles, I know them Dirty Birds are playing Philly tonight. Me and Val just talked about them Dirty Birds, you know, but he had asked a question about the expansion of 8 to 12, and again, on the college. But on this NFL side, Val, the Bears. Here's a problem to that.
We have a new quarterback. April says we need a new quarterback. Fields is gone. We have a new guy. What's the new guy's name? I forgot his name. What's the new guy's name?
Caleb Williams, Val. And no. So
Caleb
here's
not doing it?
No, I love you, April. You know I love you, April. You my girl. But check this out. For those that don't know, do you know the average time it takes to develop an NFL quarterback, Val?
3 years.
Exactly. 2 to 3 seasons. So here's it's crazy. Why not keep Justin Fields? Because you know why? He was already a veteran. And when he got out the pocket and the pocket was collapsing and he's going to get tackled, he was just like Lamar Jackson at Baltimore. He was able to click in his brain from quarterback to running back. He would get you 8, 9, 10, 12 yards, if not 20 or 30 yards. Caleb Williams has not developed that yet. And as a rookie, what we should have done is kept Justin Fields and then got Caleb Williams as an underlayment, and then we've been able to develop him. Because right now, I had the Bears going a long way till I seen some things he was doing. I think if the Bears win 8 games this year, I'm surprised, pal. That's 500, 8-8 this year.
I was very hopeful because you start the season with a win. So I was happy to see the win from last year. And the thing of it is that they were down. They were down by a field goal and a touchdown. And I saw the comeback come right at the third and fourth quarter. So I was very hopeful. And I'm thinking those same defensive moves that they had with last week, why didn't they have it against the Texans? Texans, I guess they studied the
playbook,
the film and the playbook, and was like, all right, well, we gonna block this. No. We gonna get this offensive lineman out of here. No. And we're going to expose Caleb. We're going to attack him at all costs. And it's like, he's a quarterback.
And when you say that, but I can't say it like that, Val, but you had one point that was right. They flushed him out the pocket. But you know the difference between him and Justin Fields?
What's that? Fields
got some wheels. He can skirt. He can get out. And when he get out, he's shifty, like Lamar Jackson. Caleb Williams, here's my problem for those Chicago Bears fans and those guys looking at this. And Mark mentioned about his Carolina Panthers. They are already 0-2. They're going to struggle, just like the Tennessee Titans here. They're going to struggle to get back into this even contention, and I would love it. But the Bears with Caleb Williams, Val, is that he was already a hurt product at USC. I mentioned this months ago. And then you bring a hurt product into Chicago, and the boy from Southern Cal. We ain't even hit the wintertime yet. Wait till we get to 0 degrees in Soldier Field, right? Wait till we get about 18, 19 inches of snow, Val, in Soldier Field, baby. Then we're going to see what he made of. We need a quarterback like that when you got a kid like Justin Fields playing in the Big Ten, in Ohio, used to cold weather, used to the snow, and he was good. So we're going to see what happens. But here's the question for you, Val, and on the table. Who do you guys have as your AFC and NFC picks to make it to the Super Bowl? Who do you have making it to the Super Bowl in 25?
You're asking me this question.
Yeah, I'm asking you. I got to put you on the spot.
I don't know why you doing that, man. No. Okay, so AFC and the
NFC.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So while you look at that, I'm gonna talk about it, and then you can give me yours. So
okay, great.
So you're looking at the AFC. You got the first time in possible history, Val, in your boy Patrick Mahomes, the young boy out in Kansas.
All right.
Who, if they win this year, they'll become the first NFL team to ever pull off a triple three-peat like the Bulls did. No one's done it in football. They've done it. Tom Brady's been a bad boy, but he's never three-peated. And Patrick Mahomes have a chance. So, in my opinion, for promotional purposes only, I do think the Kansas City Chiefs are the front runner in the AFC. But my long shot is who you just talked about, who beat our beloved Bears. I think that CJ will get the Houston Oilers rolling. Texans rolling. And I got Houston as my long shot at the AFC. In the NFC, I got the boys that's playing tonight. I think that the NFC Championship game is going to go through Philadelphia. I think A.J. Brown is, by the way, for some of you guys that know a little history, A.J. Brown's sister, Reva, I know she's watching tonight, I'm going to send it to her, played basketball for me at Fisk University, and her little brother, A.J., used to be on visit with his mom in the gym. And now he's A.J. Brown, Tennessee Titans / now Philadelphia Eagles. So shout out to A.J. Brown, and whatnot. So I got them Philly Eagles coming out the NFC, and my surprise would be my nephew, who's the wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, and Juwan Jennings and crew. Love to have them as my runner-up in the NFC, knocking on the door.
Okay. So now that I have a little bit of a thing, and I had to look for this, so this is what I was looking for. This is the reason why I don't come on and host, because I do this behind the scenes. But now I have
Mark said KC win championship. I like that, Mark.
So this is now. April says Philly no. She says no for Philly.
Okay.
But Mark says Kansas City could come back and win. And then he's also predicting that Kansas City against New Orleans for the Super Bowl. And then he also says NFC thought it's San Francisco, but now I think it could be New Orleans. They're looking strong, and Minnesota might shock people. I still say it's still early in the season. I feel like we can really make these predictions anywhere from like week 7 to week 9, maybe, but week 1 or 2, I don't know. But people can show up the front runner in the first couple of weeks, and then that totally reverses because of what could be happening with the offensive line.
And that's the difference between the NFL and college. You lose 1 or 2 games in college, Val, you pretty much are kicked out, and you don't look good, and you become Dana Dane said a fella, Dana Dane, right? You have to try to shoe on. You become that. But like April said, don't count them Eagles out. And I'm telling everybody the same thing. Jalen Hurts is going to be good. And they got Saquon Barkley from the Giants running in the backfield. And I had him for 65 yards tonight for the game. He had 65 yards in the first half. The boy is going to make sure the Eagles are going to be contenders in the NFC. Now, having said that,
all right,
I think Kansas City got 3 tough games, Val, in that week. They got October 20th at San Francisco, which is going to be tough. They got November 17th at Buffalo with Jason Allen. And then they got December 21st at home against those Houston Texans, who I got the potential. If KC can win those 3 games after they've already beat Baltimore in week 1, I think they will solidify themselves in the Super Bowl against the NFC. And then as far as the NFC, Philly has 3 tough games, I think. And they got October 27th, which is Halloween weekend, at Cincinnati, right? And against Joe Burrows and them boys who just pushed KC to a tough game and lost by 3 Sunday. And then they got to go to their in rival game against them Dallas Cowboys. Everybody like them Cowboys. They got to
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? They got to go to the Cowboys on November the 10th. And then you got the biggest game and the biggest test. They play December 1st. They got to go to Baltimore. And if they can get by Lamar Jackson in Baltimore the first week in December, I think Philly will wrap up the NFC, as April said.
Okay. April also says that Kansas City is fire. I agree with you on them winning those 3 to 4 games that you mentioned, because that's kind of spread out toward the end of the season. Notice it's toward the end of the season.
Yep.
but I say, like, every setup is a good, every failure could be a good setup for a comeback. And any one of these teams can come back. I mean, we could look around and the Bears could be in contention for the playoffs.
I thought the Bears were going to be in
happen.
contention NFC. I mean, and April, I love you, baby, but here's the problem. Baltimore loses game 1 against Kansas, and then they get upset this weekend. So they got 2 losses early, and we still got 16 more games to go. You see what I'm saying? And then I'm telling you that they could potentially lose against Philly, and then they still got 1 more game, a tough game down the road. Baltimore could probably have 4 losses. That ain't good enough to get to the Super Bowl. Now with 4 losses.
Well, here's the thing. Like I said, those 2 losses in the first 2 weeks, if you turn things around in the 3rd or 4th week and you start winning, it could happen. And they could win. Baltimore could win against Kansas City. I don't see it happening, but it could happen. But here's the thing. Everything could be reversed. But my thing is that for the prediction for who's going to be in the Super Bowl, I'm saying it could be Kansas City, it could be Philly, it could be the Houston Texans, because I did a little research on their coach. Their coach is phenomenal. So I'm sitting here going, one of the few African-American coaches in the league. Phenomenal. Right. He's one of the few African-American coaches in the league. So this is something to really pay attention to. And he's young. He's just 40. So this is exciting.
Very much. Hey, y'all better listen to Val. She's dropping some nuggets for y'all as wise at 5. Say we're dropping that 5 nugget. And Charles said right there what Mark said, that you really got to get 19 games in the season. That's pretty much what Val was saying. That later on it could change if you get 19 games. I'm telling you right now from Coach Tony, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got to get 9 to 10 games. The NFL is completely different than college, right? Mm-hmm. College, early on, because if you start losing games, the prediction machine won't go. In the NFL, you can't have more than 4 losses. I will give you 4 losses. I will give you 13-4. I will give you 12-5, as a wild card. But you're going to have to be pushing, 15-2, 14-2, 16-1 in the NFL to talk about something. And I'm telling you, we'll bring this show back again late December, early January. Then we'll be on top of things. And there go Mark. Mark said, Philly is definitely a strong contender. I just have too many Eagle friends, and I don't need to hear all that.
And then April, she's out west. She says, "I'm so disappointed in the LA Rams. They must have lost in their first 2 in the first 2 weeks."
Well, the reason why, April, I love you to death. Give me a hug. Let me get a hug real quick.
Give her a hug.
What happened was, what'd you say, Val? See, what happened was, they lost everything up the street, April. They went up the street to the Chargers, not to the Rams. They went to Harbaugh, to the LA Chargers, who are 2-0 right now, in first place in Los Angeles. That's where they went.
What about New York? Now, of course, my other team that I root for when it's not against the Bears is not the Jets, it's the Giants. Jets and Giants, how are they looking?
They're okay. The Jets came into Tennessee this weekend and pulled off a victory down the stretch, and just like the Bears did over the Titans, put the Titans 0-2. Aaron Rodgers needed that coming off that surgery, that injury. The Giants' problem, Val, is they let the number 1 running back in the NFL, or top 5 in the NFL, in my opinion, Saquon Barkley, go home. He's going to Philadelphia. And with all the weapons that Jalen Hurts has, you now add Saquon Barkley in the backfield, who can give you 100 yards every night. So if you watching him run the backfield, who's going to cover the receivers? Again, Philadelphia.
All right. So we've done some early predictions, but as we go into halftime, Coach, I'm telling you, these are some very, very good picks. And like I said, this is an education for myself, as I am still somewhat a newbie, but I am getting it. Thank you so very much, Coach Tony.
Hey, man, that's why you really the best. Hey, as long as you keep riding shotgun in this Ferrari, we good. You know what I'm saying? We good. We're going to keep on driving down the street. And speaking of that, we want to make sure the police ain't going to pull us over and do it like Tyreek Hill. So we're going to take a break at halftime. and pay some more bills. I got to go to halftime, talk to these boys, make sure we win this game. Val, chop it up.
Here we go. So we're kicking off a whole brand new season. I know you guys have missed us, but we are back. And of course, it's always exciting and wonderful to have a very talented individual who has started a wonderful tech company. And then, of course, he is the host of Tech Thursdays on a platform called The House of Creativity. And he has just finished his book, Where? Jay Mullane Wise. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Val, the voice, Johnson. I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
One thing I forgot to mention is that also about, I want to say October, November of last year, Wise stepped into the podcasting game, initially starting on Instagram and then started his platform, Wise Going Live. I was recently on the platform, but I think I've been there 4 times. It has been extremely gratifying to see how far you've come as a host, a podcaster, and also a moderator, sir. So I just wanted to say kudos.
Thank you. Thank you very much. When you're around great talent like yourself, Val, the voice, it only does it inspires you to go forth. And we have amazing community of people that inspire us to actually, keep accountable. You keep me accountable. I keep you accountable. We all keep each other accountable, and we try to do the great thing to move forward.
What is going on? I got to do the opening. I didn't do that. Just like from that movie, I'm going to Get You, Sucker. Everybody needs a theme song.
And you got that right.
Everybody needs a theme song. Let's not get it twisted.
Man, as we come out of the halftime break with your boy, the one and only Coach Tony, and this is the Pull Up Podcast Show with my hosts of the Moses right here, my homegirl, Val, the voice. Make sure you like us, you share with your friends and your family. Talk about the show because we're burning up like a wildfire in California right now. And do me one thing, subscribe to this show because you're going to continue to get quarter by quarter sports talk information. That's how we do.
Yeah, so we're heading into the third quarter, and I want to talk about the ladies that have been doing great things in the WNBA.
Let me go put my coat on real quick. You get me a chill. I got to put my coat on, man. Let me tell you something. I'm asking one last football question. We're done. We're going to get to these women because they the hottest item. Mark was talking about the simple fact of the baseball. We'll get to baseball because baseball's heating up. We'll do a baseball show and some stuff coming up on some of our shows that we're doing. But, I've got some picks for you for the World Series, so I may give them out at the end of this show as well. But in terms of these women, Val, let me tell you something. If you are not tuning into the WNBA, you are not a basketball fan. Don't talk to me. Don't tell me you like college basketball and the NBA. I don't want to hear none of that because the women, they continue to crush it. Again, I didn't know this until I did a little research, Val, and I sent you the picture as well. The women accounted for 62% of the medals in the Olympics. And then the women basketball team averaged 3,500 more fans than the men. And then obviously we're right here. And you know what? Everybody, we're in the last week of the WNBA for the playoffs jump off. And right now in the WNBA, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what they're looking like. And Val want to be able to pull up the NBA rankings right now heading to the playoffs. We have got the number 1 seed overall right now who have clinched a home field advantage and all that through the playoff in the New York Liberty. Behind them is the Minnesota Lynx and my girl Nafisa Collier, which she up a defensive player of the year. I can't wait to talk about her. And New York got Breonna Stewart. They're doing some things. Connecticut Sun, the number 3 seed, which I like them. I think they can be sneaky. And DeWanna Bonner, she's doing some things with Alyssa Thomas, and also the point guard Carrington. Ridiculous. You got the number 4 seed in Val, the Las Vegas Aces, and your girl, Asia Wilson, sitting in the 4 seed right now. They're dangerous because they're looking to try to three-peat. Seattle Storms in the 5th spot with Joel Lloyd, Skylar Diggins-Smith. They're sitting right there. Indiana Fever, which everyone is waiting to hear about. Why? That's Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. And they had 2 wins last year, and the girls are sitting in 6th place in the WNBA in one season, which I personally think that the coach should be coach of the year, but we'll talk about that. 7th place, thank you for getting our girl back from Russia out of jail, because now she showed you why she needed to be in the WNBA and balling. And my girl, Brittany Griner, she got the Phoenix Mercury, Diana Taurasi, and the rookie, Kayla Cooper. Here's the tricky part, Val. Here's the thing. Unfortunately, our girl Angel Reese is hurt, and I hate that. She's out for the season because Chicago, Washington Mystics, and the Atlanta Dream, those 3 teams are playing for the last spot to get in the WNBA playoffs. So by this Friday, we will have all 8 teams wrapped up. And I hope that Cardosa could just bring us home and do what she got to do. If not, Kennedy Carter, the PG. So that's what we're looking like right now with the WNBA.
Yeah, I mean it's looking really exciting. I'm really sad to hear about Angel Reese being hurt because she's representing our hometown, the Chicago Sky. But of course, with her being out now for the rest of the season, I just know that the girls in the WNBA did such a great job at the Olympics. And with them now just wrapping up and getting ready to wrap up their season, we get really excited for the WNBA playoffs because, like I said, this season was just exciting at the start of it because a lot of people who had never watched the WNBA draft watched it, and they are seeing what the girls are doing. And
for the women.
Teams that you just mentioned are in playoff contention. They're going to be there.
Right.
Many of the rookies that showed up and showed out throughout the season.
Yeah, and Mark states right there, I want your response, Mark. It's a big statement right there. Mark said he thinks the Washington Mystics is going to get it. Why do you think that, Mark? Because I personally think that you're looking at one game. You got 3 games this week. The hard part about it is the schedule. I do think that the Washington Mystics has the easier schedule this week to finish out this 3-game road trip that they've got. But I really look at the Chicago Sky. I personally think has got a great because Cardosa is finally playing. Kennedy Carter at the PG is making some big statements and all that. Atlanta did pull off a big win. They beat the Washington Mystics the other day, which hurt Washington. So I think that with the Sky not having to play either one of them, I think that if the Sky could win 2 of the next 3 games and win tomorrow night, Wednesday, win Friday and Saturday, or win Friday and maybe lose Saturday, I think if they win 2 more games, they get in.
Yeah. And so, like I said, it'll be good to see them in the playoffs, even without Angel Reese, because they have a very robust roster over here in the Chicago. But I say the ladies throughout the WNBA are looking phenomenal. And thank you so much for that, Queen April. She says, facts, Queen Val. And of course, Mark says, I wish Chicago would get it, but I don't see it. What do you mean by that, Mark?
Well, because he thinks the Washington Mystics have a little easier schedule, which is what I just mentioned a moment ago. It all comes down to scheduling, Val, right? Because if the Sky has got to finish with, let's say, New York, if you can pull up the Sky's schedule real quick, the Chicago Sky's last schedule, but if they got to finish with any of these teams in the top 4, that's going to be a very, very difficult ladder to climb. And I get what Mark is saying. But if you're looking at it, I think that the Dream has the difficult schedule. I think Chicago has a couple of tough games, but it's a couple of tough games because the Sparks is not going to get the LA Sparks. And by the way, for those that are listening, make sure you're here because Coach Tony about to blow up like the brother at the gas station. I got Coach Danielle Vigzloni, who is the assistant coach with the Los Angeles Sparks, on the Pull Up Podcast show at the end of the month. We'll talk about that on closeout. But Val, do you have that schedule that they got the sky later?
All right, just pulling it up right now. This is the 2024 schedule, and I'm seeing it now. The last couple of dates, in fact, looks like the last one that they have is coming up September 19th against Connecticut. We got something happening. Yeah, they got something happening tomorrow too. Atlanta and Connecticut are their last two games.
Okay, so here's it just goes back to what I just said. So they beat Atlanta tomorrow. They probably won't beat Connecticut. Connecticut's the number 3 seed, and that's DeWanna Bonner. She's playing her butt off. But if they're able to get Atlanta tomorrow, and look at Atlanta's schedule right real quick, Val, and see who Atlanta is going to finish up with. But while she's looking at that, again, it's about positions and move. It's going to depend upon who Washington, who Atlanta, and who the Sky will finish up these last 2 or 3 games, and that's going to be the big deciding factor. I think that if the Sky can beat Atlanta and get that win, which I think it's going to be in Chicago, and then that last game against the Connecticut, they can play great, maybe still a win. Maybe coach decide to sit DeWanna Bonner and Elisa Thomas down and give them some rest, or Carrington, the guard, which I love her to death. Maybe we got a shot.
Maybe, but like I said, it's going to be tough. I'm looking at the schedule for Atlanta, and I'm bringing it up right now. Let's take a look here as I go ahead and present it. As you got to go and make sure that you have it. Looks like their schedule, the last couple of people that they're going to be playing is going to be Dallas and then Washington. Looks
okay.
Like Washington,
so that's good because Dallas is sitting there. Dallas, see, the Atlanta got
New York Liberty. September 19th is their last one, and
so they got New York Liberty. So they got New York Liberty. They got
Chicago Sky. So yeah,
so they got the Sky and they got the Liberty, right? You see that, Val?
What was that again?
I said they got the Sky and they got the Liberty, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the Liberty is number 1. So Atlanta's going to probably take a loss there. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the game, kind of like what Mark was saying, the actual game to get in this playoff is going to be the Dream versus the Sky. I got to watch that game this week because Chicago will probably lose against Connecticut and Atlanta will probably lose against the Liberty. So it's going to come down to who wins that Atlanta and Chicago Sky game. And then the Washington Mystics is going to probably lose both their final game because if Atlanta and Chicago is playing and they're playing someone else, then Washington's probably got 2 tough teams to finish the season out with, and that doesn't look good for them.
Well, here's the question that I have for you. Who do you think will be the teams that will make it to the playoffs for the WNBA?
Oh, I tell you what, Val, that's a great question. We're going to take our last break of the day. I'm going to answer that on the other side, including what we're looking at in terms of the WNBA awards. We'll be right back to pay these last bills of the day before I get put out my house.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the Key Spot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAP. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. KeySpot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. KeySpot, connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
Man, welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast Show. It's your main man, the one and only Coach Tony, and my sidekick. We kind of run like the Lone Ranger and Tonto right here, you know, Kimo Sabe and Val, the voice. Val, give me that question again you just asked so we make sure everybody understands what's going on.
Oh, well, the question I have for you, Coach, is which teams in the WNBA you are predicting will make it to the WNBA playoffs this coming October?
Perfect. That's why I want to make sure we have that because for promotional purposes only, we want to make sure, you know, that if you can put up a house note or your car note and whatever else, don't blame me, but I'm going to tell you how we do it. I think that you're looking at this year. I know that Las Vegas Aces is trying to three-peat. That is very difficult. Ask Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. We did it 2 times, right? I do not think that the Las Vegas Aces will be able to three-peat as much as I love them. And Asia is doing a hell of a job. And I think she's going to be MVP of the league this year. And we'll talk about that too. But I personally think that right now, 2 teams that I'm seeing that are working their butt off and playing, I think that the New York Liberty and Breanna Stewart, who lost to Las Vegas last year, will be back. And I think that is going to be the Connecticut Sun. I think that you will have the Liberty versus Connecticut will make it back this year, those 2 teams back to the championship game. I think that DeWanna Bonner is playing out of her butt. I think Alyssa Thomas and Carrington is just a tremendous guard. And they got what we call the trifecta. They got a guard that can handle the ball and everything else. No different. Now, don't get me wrong, Val. Las Vegas got the same thing in Kelsey Plum, and they got the same thing in Asia Wilson, and they got the same thing in Chelsea. And so they got all 3 as well, and their experience. I just think that with Chelsea being hurt earlier in the year with her ankle, and Asia doing what she's doing, and Plum is doing what she's doing, I just don't think that they got enough firepower to get by either Connecticut or New York.
All right. So, okay. So those are the teams you see in the WNBA championships. Okay.
All right. And speaking of the WNBA on the championship side, for guard, drop our girl Asia Wilson picture right now, because I think that she will win the MVP. She just did something that no other WNBA player has done, and not even my beloved Cynthia Cooper. For those that don't know who Cynthia Cooper is, she is the Michael Jordan of the WNBA back in the day with the Houston Comets. And the Houston doesn't have a team anymore. Asia just scored over 1,000 points in a season in the WNBA, which is unheard of, Val. And defensive prowess, block shots and rebound. She's sitting there number 1, number 2 in that as well. So I don't think that anyone's going to take the opportunity of walking away with that trophy from Asia. I think that Dawn Staley is going to be there, celebrate her player. Now, Nafisha Collier from the Minnesota Lynx, she's doing great. But like I said, mom and dad, they did a great job of raising her, doing her thing. And I don't think anyone's going to beat her for the MVP value.
Oh, no, I don't see that happening. I mean, like, I know Caitlin Clark will still be in the conversation and will definitely which she's in Indiana, they're number 6, the 6th pick right now. But no, I feel like that she'll probably end up being the MVP, and that'll be fun to see. To see.
I think it will. And Mark just asked a question who I think is going to be the number 1 draft pick. We're going to do a show down the road. I'm going to give you that. But right now, Mark, I think it's between my girl at Connecticut, at UConn, rather, that's going to be that, or it's going to be Kiki Rice out of UCLA. I think the one or two of them as a college kid, because right now Juju Watkins cannot come out. She's only a sophomore. That's the only thing I don't like about the rules that they put on our young ladies, Val. the women can't go to the WNBA until they turn 21. A lot of people may
What?
not know that or not. Yes,
I
that's
didn't
just some
know
more
that.
nuggets for your knowledge. Yeah, so they got to stay in school to their junior year, kind of like football. Now, in terms of the rookie of the year, I know you don't want to hear this, Val. I love you, and I know I'm going to get beat up, and I cannot wait to Coach Danielle come on at the end of the month because she's in the WNBA. She's going to be there to talk about all these players that she's coached against throughout the year, and you're going to get firsthand knowledge right here on the Pull Up Podcast show about Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Rakia Jackson, and everyone that's rookies right now because she's having an opportunity to sit on the sideline, Val, and watch these people. But because our beloved Angel Reese is out for the season, even though she's got 25 double-doubles, which is insane, including 16 in a row to set a record. Caitlin Clark has also set multiple records, leading scorer as a rookie, assists as a rookie, and now she's got assists and points as a rookie, and she's got 2 or 3 more games. And here's what the key point is. You know what the telling point for me for Caitlin Clark is, Val?
What would that be?
Indiana only won 2 games last year, and right now they sit in the number 6 position in the WNBA playoff right now.
Hey, this is good news, right?
That's insane. And I know a lot of my homeboys get on me, man, Val, you would go crazy if you see how many arguments I have because I like Caitlin Clark. And I keep telling them, I don't care what color she is. She can be from freaking, you remember the back in the day we were kids, we watched the show The Martians?
Yeah.
She could be on The Martians. I don't care because the girl can flat out dish the rock. She set you up. And everyone on Indiana's team, point production has gone up because she is a threat. She's a triple threat. She can score, she can dish, she can rebound. So that's awesome what she's doing. Now, here's the key. The coach of the year. And speaking of our Olympic team, I thought for a moment, Val, I was like, wait a minute. If Caitlin Clark is up for rookie of the year and they only won 2 games last year and they're in the playoff this year, their coach would probably be the coach of the year. No, Val, is Cheryl Reeve, Minnesota Lynx. She just came off of winning us what? An 8th gold medal for the Olympic team. And now she took Minnesota from the bottom of the rack, and now they're in the playoff right now, holding the number 2 spot with the Minnesota Lynx.
Yeah. Yeah. So congratulations. Congratulations to Cheryl. She's doing a great job and has been doing a great job. And so she'll definitely get coach of the year. I could see that happening. Go coach.
Yes. Yep. And this is, we mentioned earlier about Connecticut, and you were talking about because the Sky got to play them. If you get a chance, please, I'm telling y'all right now, Val, and I want you to make sure you clear your schedule. When is that game? I think you say the game is Saturday.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
So watch this game. Let me tell you something. My girl, the most improved player of the year in the WNBA is none other than Dejanay Carrington. Dejanay Carrington with the Connecticut Sun. She is by far, she got that blonde hair with the long ponytail, but the girl give you buckets. And she not only give you buckets, she can play defense. Now, close second is our girl, Kennedy Carter with Chicago Sky. They brought her in to be the new point guard. But I just don't think Kennedy's got enough to get past Dejanay Carrington with the Connecticut Sun. I think that Dejanay is last year she was off the charts, in terms of what she was doing because she was overshadowed with DeWanna Bonner. She was overshadowed with Alyssa Thomas. And I think now she fits in very well with those 3 because in order to be able to win, Val, you got to have a 3-headed monster. Again, this is why I'm saying that Connecticut Sun will make it to the WNBA championship game.
Exactly. Wow. That's going to be exciting. That's going to be exciting, Coach. Woo-hoo.
Now, let's give a quick shout out to two things here. The all WNBA first team WNBA, Asia Wilson from the Las Vegas Aces, Nafisha Collier from the Minnesota Lynx, Breonna Stewart, my girl from the New York Liberty, Alyssa Thomas from Connecticut, Sabrina Ionesky, from the New York Liberty. That's going to be your first team WNBA. Your second team is led by none other than rookie Caitlin Clark from the Indiana Fever. Jonquel Jones, who's from New York as well. Caleb McBride, Minnesota Lynx. Nakia Omawagi from Seattle Storm. And finally, Jackie Young from Vegas. Now, Val, you're going to love me. You know why?
Why?
Because I got 15 of these young ladies from the WNBA as part of my connection group on my Twitter. And I reached out to about 10 of these young ladies, and I want to make sure that I congratulate them on a job well done this year and ask several of them to be on the show. So as we get an opportunity to have some of these WNBA girls on the show to tell their story, their background, and their experiences in WNBA, we're going to let you know. And I got one big shout out, Val. Here in Nashville, Tennessee, it's coming this January. And Val, we're going to be loaded coming January, girl, because we have got Professional Women's Basketball and Athletes Unlimited, who is owned by Breonna Stewart of the New York Liberty. They are bringing a team to Nashville, Val, starting in January to play women's professional basketball, girl.
Ooh. Ooh.
And I told them, we got to put the Pull Up podcast down there and do a live show. What you talking about?
That would be cool. That would be cool.
and if I get the okay, I got to bring you into town, Val. I got to bring you down in town. We're on courtside taking pictures. We chilling.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah.
As we wrap the show up tonight, again, I want to thank my guy, Wise, going live at 5 NYC, New York to the Shy to New York. I appreciate that. And we talked a lot about the process of name, image, likeness. And this right here is my company, The Rise, NIL, sports marketing agency. And Val, I didn't get an opportunity to talk to you, but I got a brand by the name of Rip It, RIP-IT, Rip It, like you rip something. And they are working with a client of mine that you and I had on last season in Brooke Gillian, the volleyball player from Belmont. Remember her?
I remember her, yeah. Woo.
Well, she is working with a brand, so I'll keep you guys up to date. But the reason why I mention it, because if you work with me with The Rise, your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, your little cousin, whomever that you may know, has an opportunity like these young ladies. And Val, as well, our girl, Malika Chinyuri, the little tennis player, is now, listen to this, guys, if you don't know this name, I'm telling you now to write it down. Malika Chinyuri, Colorado, is ranked #1 in the state of Colorado after coming off of a Hall of Fame inductee. She's ranked right now in the top 10 in the nation, and she's ranked 138 in the world. Not in the nation, Val. She's ranked 138 in the world at 14 years old, and will be going pro in the next 36 months. Bank on that.
That's big, and she came through the Rise NIL. Is that correct?
Yes, we went with the Rise NIL. And for those of you that listen to our show, if you are listening to my ears on Monday night, make sure tomorrow night you come in and you get back with Val and I, because we not only give you sports, we give you music and entertainment right to your ears. And my beloved co-host right here, Val, tell them a little bit about the DJ Saved My Life.
It is part memoir, part the ABCs of starting your own podcast. And of course, during the pandemic, a lot happened, but the best thing that happened for myself was being able to start the platform, the Interludes podcast. And now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 podcasts later, now it's being a virtual DJ, and all of those things saved my life during this time. So A DJ Saved My Life is a new ebook from yours truly, Val the Voice Johnson. Go ahead and scan the QR code or go to purelightHousemedia.net for an ebook copy. We want to thank everyone, including our very own Mr. Springer, who's in the audience today. Appreciate you being here, sir. He already has a copy of the show. He says, shout out to Coach Tony and Val the Voice on the Pull Up Podcast show. And of course, King Wise, who had Coach Tony on this past Friday for Wise Going Live at 5. Tony dropped 24 karat gold bars on the podcast. So then that's what's happening. But tomorrow, we're going to have a special guest.
Who's that, Val?
A good special guest coming up tomorrow night. She is a singer, songwriter, and also a playwright. Is one of my good friends I've known for a good long while. Her and her husband, Junior Hickman. It is Veronica Hickman, and she's from one of my friends in Harlem. And of course, she's done a lot of great things regarding arts and entertainment in Harlem. And of course, she talks about how her faith has helped her through regarding myself, just music and all of that. I would go to Harlem to perform with the Harlem Renaissance Choir, and I did not close the doors on my beloved church because of this woman right here. I love Veronica. She's thebomb.com. So she's coming on tomorrow night, and she's going to chew the fat with us and talk about just what it takes to stay grounded and doing independent writing and performance and stuff.
Yes. And I love that. And you said the key word, Val, being grounded. And speaking of my boy Wise, Val, I'm going back on the show because he and I were talking about house music and just music in general. And he doesn't know my intellect is so deep on the house music. I can't wait to get back on. I know New York stole Frankie Knuckles, but we got Fall to Keith, so I can't wait to get on that show.
Exactly. So it'll be good to have you be back on there. And like I said, it was good, and you did great. You wore the shirt, so we're gonna make sure that we have the shirt available for you guys a little bit later on this month. So yes,
get the merch. And as we close out here and looking, again, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for making the Pull Up Podcast show such a success. We jumped on season 2, episode 202, and we're going to just continue to rock and roll. I can't be here without you. I need each and every one of you. So make sure you continue to share this with your friends, your family. Make sure you do one thing for me, and that's subscribe to the show. If you got a friend that want to check out and know anything that's going on with NIL and how to get their kid, and right here, we live every doggone Monday in the Rise studio. We can talk to you. You got my information. That's my girl right here, Val the Voice. But you know my magic words, even though I love you. Peace.
Peace.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the Voice and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. So I said bounce the Voice and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. So it's the Pull Up Podcast.